after a very boring first two features, the third feature had an absolutely wild finish with Ricky Thornton Jr. getting into the back of Devin Moran, cutting down his left rear tire. And then on a restart, Ricky Thornton Jr. looked like he was going to be able to take it away, but he jumped the cushion coming down the back chute and got passed by pretty much the top 8 cars. I think it was around there. And Brandon Sheppard would be the one who benefited from that. He would take home the victory. But before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at John Trent Racing. As I was saying, the first two features were quite boring. You basically had the pole sitter run away with them in both of the races. It took a little bit to get going. There was lots of cautions kind of bogging them down in the beginning. But at the end of the day, Bobby Pierce ran away with it in the first feature, and Mike Marlar ran away with it in the second feature. And I think a lot of the reason why those races were very boring is because at the end of the day, they were really just glorified heat races because they separated all of the cars into 3 groups. They qualified, and then that qualifying for those groups was then put into the feature race for each group. So there were no heat races, and each feature is only 20 laps. So what you ended up happening was you had all of the competition was spread out. So Bobby Pierce wasn't going up against Ricky Thornton Jr. He wasn't going up against Devin Moran. You've got Mike Marlar wasn't going up against Ricky Thornton Jr. He wasn't going up against Bobby Pierce. The third feature, I think, did have a lot of top talent in it. You had Devin Moran, you had Ricky Thornton Jr., you had Brandon Sheppard, you had Dalton Wilson, you had some of these top competitors, you had Hudson O'Neal out there as well. So had a little bit of a different makeup. Even Chris Madden was out there, even though Madden was obviously he struggled in his qualifying lap, and I think he had some kind of mechanical issues and just really wasn't able to get that car up to where he needed it to be for the feature. But I do think that was the big problem. I think they have a really bad format here for this Wednesday night at the DirtCar Nationals. But we did get some excitement at the end of the third feature, and it became due to a really good race between Devin Moran and Ricky Thornton Jr. It looked like we were going to get kind of what we saw last night with Devin Moran kind of being the beneficiary of Bobby Pierce's mechanical failure and running away, and Ricky Thornton Jr. trying to track him down, but not being able to get there. However, that was not the case. Ricky Thornton Jr. was able to get there. He had enough laps this time, and he was able to actually make a pass, but Devin Moran said, not so fast. So you can see here, about 5 laps to go here. The difference between Devin Moran and Ricky Thornton Jr. is about 4/10, and Ricky Thornton Jr. was tracking him down. So let's take a look at this right here. 5 laps to go. Ricky Thornton Jr. really kind of working that bottom side there in 1 and 2. Makes up a lot of time right there. Running that bottom line, and then kind of goes to the top side in 3 and 4, and then gets a huge gain there in 3 and 4, catching Devin Moran. So you can see he was definitely catching him right there. Thornton would then really kind of take advantage of that run on the outside coming out of turn 3 and 4 a couple of laps later, and he would pull a crossover move on Devin Moran. Let's take a look here going down into turn 1 and 2. So nice little crossover move after a huge run in 3 and 4. Gets the inside, gets position, takes the lead right there, and then kind of pulls the slider on the lap car. But Devin Moran would be not so fast. He would come around and get him on the next lap. Moran would dive to the bottom of Ricky Thornton Jr. going into 1 and 2, pull the slide job. Ricky Thornton Jr. would then run into the rear of Moran, cut Moran's left rear tire. You can see the rubber just being shredded. And then Ricky Thornton Jr.'s right front quarter panel would be stuck up in the air. Caution would come out. Devin Moran would go to the pits and try and get it repaired. But obviously, 1 lap left. His chances of winning the race were ended. As far as what happened on the final restart, this is what happened. Ricky Thornton Jr. would lead them to the restart. Brandon Sheppard in second. Dalton Wilson there in third. Let's take a look and see what happens here. So it looks pretty good. Ricky Thornton's ripping that top, gets a really good run going down into 1 and 2, comes off of the corner. And I don't know if that fender just really messed him up, but he jumps the cushion there, loses all of his momentum. Sheppard says, "Thank you very much. I will take home that checkered flag." and then Ricky Thornton Jr. would fall behind, and there you can see he fell back to 6th. So he would get passed by Ryan Gustin, Dalton Wilson, and Tyler Bruning and Hudson O'Neal. So the rest of your top 10 would be Ricky Thornton Jr. in 6th, Drake Troutman in 7th, Dennis Erb Jr. in 8th, Brian Shirley in 9th, and Jimmy Owens there in 10th. But quite exciting race to finish the third feature. And I guess it kind of salvages the rest of the night because the first 2 races were indeed quite boring, but we did get an exciting finish there at the end. As far as who's to blame, I'm not really sure who's to blame. I think you could probably put the blame. Actually, I don't really know if there's anyone really to blame. I think it was a racing deal. Obviously, Devin Moran drove it in there, pulled the slide job. They're at Volusia. You can't really let off or, lose a bunch of time. Ricky Thornton Jr. didn't let off, and Devin Moran happened to be there in front of him, and he ran into the back of him and cut his tire. If you're a Devin Moran fan, obviously the blame is on Ricky Thornton Jr. If you're a Ricky Thornton Jr. fan, I think you can blame Devin Moran for pulling that really tight slide job and not really giving Ricky Thornton any space to maneuver. I don't think that there was really a lot of space for Ricky Thornton to kind of drive down the bottom of the track there. He was kind of just like, you got to either hit him or kind of get off the gas, and Ricky Thornton Jr. chose to hit him. But I definitely feel like it was a racing deal. They were obviously both racing for the win. Basically, you've got a lap to go. So I don't really think anyone is really to blame there. But let me know what you guys make of this in the comments below.